Right, there we go. Yes, I'm good. Sound's on. Can you hear me? Hi, Lee. Yeah, this is the early start for me. This is when creativity is best. First thing in the morning. Right, so let's have a look. What have we got? Hi, Z. So I think what we're doing is a drafting session. Right, so it'll go a bit quiet and then whilst I'm opening this project. Okay, and I'm back. Right, hair's really weird today. Let's sort that out. It's the first thing. Right. Right, that'll do. Right, okay, Dastardly, how you doing? Let's switch to Ableton and have a listen. Okay, I need to get the latency down a bit. Right. Excellent. Right, so that should be a bit less glitchy. So I think the first thing... Oh, what? Right, where's it? Right, there we go, back again. It's going to be one of those mornings. Right. Okay, so a bit of direct listening. Just need to get my notebook out. So one good technique for like listening to music is just when you hear this, you know how I talk about just trying to direct your senses to the music and not listening to any judgmental thoughts that you might be having. Another way to do this is to focus on one element in the track, so like the snare or something, but then also notice what happens when that sound disappears. Okay? Right, I'm going to have a listen through. Right, so I'm just going to write a couple of things down. Right, okay. So the things I'm picking up on is actually the track is almost nearly there with regards to like all the synths and the backing and stuff. But I need to play a little bit, like in general, I just want to play a little bit more with the contrast regarding my ace, which is the actual core experience. Because remember, the core experience is we're looking at the listener and the problem state and like where the music actually moves them to. So in my case, the problem state's isolation, and then we're moving to aspiration. So it's how I can augment that even more. So contrast's going to be something, but I haven't got anything completely concrete on that yet, apart from I just want to see what happens when I start removing bits of drums and things, and doing more drastic stuff and playing about with filters. So that was one thing. I'm going to put some like rock hi-hats on. That's probably going to be the first job because it's easy. So when you're doing a list of things, what tends to help is if you use one way I used to do it, I mean I do this in my head now, is to use what was it called again, the Eisenhower matrix, you know. I mean if you look it up, but basically all I'm looking for is the jobs, right, that are the easiest to do, that are going to have the most impact, and anything that's hard to do and has the least impact I just don't actually bother doing. So just adding some rock hi-hats on the quarter notes on the choruses to give it a bit more lift and to give it more of a, to support those heavy guitars, is like the first thing I'm going to do, because it's just like a no-brainer, isn't it, really? And then we've got things like fills which need doing, the usual toms, that kind of thing. And then I've got some, maybe some sort of like arpeggio, some sort of fast moving synth, maybe on the first verse of this intro, or some sort of tension string, or more, or both. So I think like I just need to build a little bit more tension in there, something needs to grow, and it's something to do with having some sort of high string, some sort of like 16th note bouncing along, and something random in the background. And then when you have a lot of electronic music like this, like one thing that really helps it is actually having vocals on there, just like little vocal stabs, and that's very much becoming a real thing in my style at the moment, and I'm really liking doing that. And it just humanises absolutely everything. And I suppose for the genre, not many people kind of do those sort of choppy kind of house vocal things, where they'll make a song out of just like one little phrase or something. So I quite like that, and I quite like sticking with that. So I might try and get that to work, although that'll be something for like the verses, maybe not so much of the actual drop in this, because that main theme's quite big, you know. And then the other thing is that with that theme, with that main theme, what I'd like is maybe some sort of layer with the lead, but not a guitar layer. And that's where I'm up to really with this. So we're going to do that. We've got a starting point. And of course we can time the first job, can't we? That should get me into flow. Alright, look, we've got an available MIDI track as well. Right, and any questions, just put them in the chat, and I'll see what I can do to answer them. So I believe this is a drafting session we're doing as well. I'll just double check on that. It is a drafting session. Here we go. One thing I'm going to do though is I'm just going to get rid of some stuff. Hear that? That'll do for now. Okay, and then let's just get a bit more excitement into these kicks. Let's go with that. Actually, there's another thing I can quickly do as well, which is on the solo. So the guitar solo's coming in here. I need to change a note. Okay, let's copy the Juno, and I'll have some sort of pad, I think, with that on that section. So I've got like a synth patch on here that's like really versatile, so I can make leads and I can make pads out of it and stuff like that, which is great. Right, what key are we in? E minor. E minor. Bleh. Okay, that's that job done. Right, contrast. Okay, let's make a sub bass. Pretty easy to do. So I just duplicate the bass I've got, and then I'm just gonna take off the envelope. Oh. Which is much easier than looking for another bass, just to do a sub. The other thing with this is that if I want to morph this into the other bass or something similar, it's easy to do just on the filters. So I'll just take the envelope off. I think it works a bit anyway. Right, contrast. Okay, right, we're gonna fade that out. Fade that section out. Right, and then shouldn't use that. Right, let's see how it's shaping up. Right, we need some noise. Hi Des, how you doing? Right, what was in the list? Right. No, that bird's not right. None of that. Here we go. Right, and then noise 2. This. Right, I'll just massage this into place using an EQ. So the idea is just to get it to blend. have the reverse vocals in. So I've already got the effects change set up on this. It's part of the template, which is this really nice shimmer reverb by Valhalla. Which I think does the best shimmer sound. So, what are you using? What am I using for the? Is that the drum sounds or the EQ and stuff like that? The drum sounds, they're just bits of like samples that I've found, but very quickly on the channel itself. So this isn't fully mixed, right? So this is just on the template. So I do have a transient designer. Then the next thing is the Slate VCC. So that's just giving it a little bit of coloration, and then I've got an EQ and a bit of compression coming off this SSL, and then nothing on that, and that's the kick. But the snare has transient designer, so I know that's adding a bit of snap and a bit of sustain. But then what I have is this wet dry rack in Ableton, and what I have is a gated reverb. So when we listen to it, I'll switch it off. That's without, that's with. So it really fills the sides out, makes it sound big. And you know, if you want, you can take the gate off. But I want that on because it's just like sending a massive cloud through your whole mix. And then again VCC. And then I've got a channel strip, and that'll be doing some sort of little light compression, bit of EQ, and I don't think we're using anything on there. And that is it. So those are the drums, and then the rest of it's just a mixture of all kinds of stuff. So I usually have, in fact I'll put it in, I've got the big clap. So there's a few things that I always have like in tracks. But none of this is mixed, so it wouldn't change, but there'll be other things that I'll do to get it to sit right. So, but I mean, this is just like a template that I've been working on. That's sort of like, it's how the tracks really start. So I do have a few mixed things in there. But actually, my philosophy on sort of the mixing at the minute is try not to do any mixing. And there's been times I've released plenty of tracks and I haven't even bothered mixing them because I knew if I'd done that, I would have destroyed it. But what the concept I am using as the first line of mixing is I'm approaching it dynamically. So when I mean dynamically, it's about space between instruments, so it's like a volume thing, but also using side chaining. So I use the track spacer quite a bit on here. And the cool thing about the track spacer is because it's dynamic and it's moving with the mix, it's not completely, you're not locked to a frequency. So I can write in any key, and instruments are being like automatically knocked out of the way of each other before I even start kind of like high passing and low passing things, you know, which is good because like one thing I've noticed is, you know, you can get carried away with like the high pass low pass thing, especially the high pass thing, and you can destroy mixes. You can pull all of the energy out of something and just end up with this very clean, lifeless thing, which I don't want to happen, and I've done that many a time. So, I mean, really all I'm doing is I'm just trying to keep the vibe as much as I can. Okay, right, what was I doing? Get these out. Right, okay, one of those, and stick it in. No, that's the one I want. There you go. Lovely, innit? So this snare, right, I want to try a little experiment with it, which is like a dynamic thing. Okay. Take that off, right. We're just going to mess with this. Let's put it in the mix. And then the other thing we're going to do is, actually that's another thing that has to go into there. Right. Is I'm going to bring the entire track down by maybe 1.5 dB or a dB in this section. So that's all this does. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to have to do is this bass. We're going to take a little bit of the... So I'm going to take some low end off this, and one thing I like to do is I like to use the stock Ableton plugin EQ. This will just go kind of here. And the reason I like it is when I'm cutting something aggressively, I quite like when it's on this 48 dB slope, I quite like the way it resonates. So you can see how making all of these kind of tweaks are just nicely blending everything together, and it's dynamically building. Okay, now the great thing is, so I've got the noise hi-hats right now. This is a techno thing, and the great thing about this is you can mess with the decay here. So the decay thing, yeah, we can get it to do something around about here. just want not for the ride bell things. It's good for the to evoke summoning. Okay, so some of this isn't grouped, is it? Oh, it's not. Oh. Yeah, I didn't. Oh, hold on. Filter. Alright, everybody else is going. So make a note to myself. Alright, lead. We'll start with that. We'll put this in red for danger. I could actually just do it with that one, couldn't I? Just, I don't know, change a few things on the synth. It's a real guitar. I would I wouldn't put a synth generator. I'd plug one in and I would play it. Yeah, and I mean, again, like, there's been no mixing done to this guitar, so, you know, it's just been left to roam wild, apart from, obviously, I've got track spacer on it. And, like, this is, like, chained to the drums, the entire drum kit. So when that guitar comes in... There's dynamic movement which is rhythmic. So the volume of that guitar is like expanding and contracting in sympathy with the drums. So it all kind of glues together. And of course when you do that, it means like everything can be louder. So you get like a fat mix, you know, you get something that's powerful. Right, okay, so I think we can give that the green light, green, and take the question mark off it. So I'll probably stick with that. Now, I think I'm quite done on this track for now. I mean, there are other things, I haven't done certain things on it. The interesting thing is, so, if we go back to, I'm going to put the camera on a second. Okay. Right, excuse my appalling writing. But that was the list, and I started numbering. I'm gonna go this way. I started numbering various jobs, right? And there's 3 things on this list that I picked that I started doing. Now, the one thing to notice is I'll have started doing the rock hi-hats, okay? But then other ideas kind of started coming into my head, and then I just went on a mission till those ideas were exhausted. And then when those ideas were finished, I just went to the next thing that was on my list, and then I did those ideas. And then when those ideas are finished, I go to the next thing on my list. But the list actually is it's numbered in priority of things as well. So now, working out what's a priority amongst doing music, where there's absolutely thousands and thousands of decisions to be made across the whole sort of spectrum of the creative process, going from divergent to convergent, actually learning to get the correct jobs in order of the right place that you are in the creative process is practice. And that's like one of the, really cool things that you can learn from a coach, is being able to do that. And the only way to do that is actually to do it and have somebody that you can use as a soundboard, that you can do something and then look at the result and get the data, and then with that person work out how you can use that data to actually improve your process. And quite frankly, that's how you get really, really good at stuff. Because what's happening there is you're not learning any new skills, like how to play a lick on a guitar or how to use another EQ or any of that. All that's happening is the skills that you already got are being facilitated and just being monitored and used in a very kind of scientific way that pushes you forward. It's a great thing. I mean, when I think, like, God, like what I went through learning music, and if I had something like this, if I knew the things that I knew now over the last sort of 6 years, anyway, I don't want to think about it, because I might not be here doing this with you guys. But yes. So is there any questions? Yeah. Mentors are hard to come by, yet well, it's getting the right one, isn't it? And they cost absolutely tons of money. But a worthwhile investment. It's interesting because, like, some people quit. Because, when you start going down that road, it means you're really serious. You're not like thinking about this anymore. You're not like, oh, I'm going to watch some YouTube videos and like I'll add that to my track that's never ever going to get finished. You're thinking, right, enough is enough, right? I'm going to do this or I'm going to quit, And it's important, isn't it? Because, when I was younger, I'd struggle writing music, but I'd write plenty of music because I had an abundance of time, and I was daft. So it didn't really kind of, I wasn't doing anything else apart from music, so I was lucky like that. So I had time to absolutely waste. But when you get older and you've got that job hanging over you, and I mean, I'm lucky because my job's like music as well, so like there's lots of jobs and things I need to work on that I can actually do in work. But if you've got something that completely disrupts, then you've got to be focused, haven't you? Like, time's very, very important, and how you use that time is very, very important as well, isn't it? To actually get things moving on. And like right. So these sessions that I'm doing with you guys, I'm not doing any of the sessions outside of the music that I'm doing here. So you're just seeing somebody who's spending an hour, maybe solid, doing some music every day. And then when you look at the machine, I mean, if I just went, right, I'm going to clear some time out and absolutely, like, smash everything, I could do that. But it's nice to know that you can get on with your everyday. Now, I don't know, I mean, we're not quite up to 3 weeks, are we, with this? But, if I flick over to here, the desktop, and we'll look at the automatic music making machine. Look at that, like the sketchbook. You know, this is only 3 weeks of stuff there. Just this week we did something like 20 splurges, so I've got, you know, if I just can't splurge or can't think of anything, well, it's not that I don't have to think of it, I have to do something with these splurges. Decisions have to be made to keep the health of this machine going. We've got discovery, we've got a couple of sessions in there, there'll be more to go in. Draft, we've just finished a draft. Lala's probably going to go into done, I think, maybe. Let's put it into done. It's into done now, and it gets the drafting label, which is good. I'm going to put the drafting label on now. I love doing this bit. Feels really good. Oh, there we go. So we can see, right, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 tracks that are in done, okay, that potentially I could release. And this is just going to go on and on and on. And I'll be in a situation there, if I'm going to do an album, a solo album, or more McRocklin Hutch stuff, and we're doing an EP, I can curate what I'm doing in a direction. I'm not thinking the EP is about this. I can just go, oh, that track goes with that one goes like that, and dynamically curate something, a cohesive body of work, because the music's in abundance. That's cool, isn't it? Because creativity is in abundance. We don't have to worry about being. I don't have to worry about being inspired. I don't have to worry about what mood I'm in. I don't really have to worry about if I'm struggling in a session, because, you know, I'm covered. I've got plenty of ideas there. What I'm thinking in the moment's completely unreliable anyway, so just finish what you're doing, stick it in the machine, and have an opinion on it later. So it's a very, very powerful approach to do this, and it's been great actually sharing it with you guys to see this, because not many people have this. Not many people know kind of how to do this approach. I'll tell you what's interesting actually, that you can get through the Joe Satriani biography. I read that, and he has not as organised system as this, but he has a similar system because he prolifically writes stuff, but it's all on bits of paper and stuff, you know, and all over the shop. And then it's like whether he and it's all in a sketchbook, and it's like he'll suddenly remember, oh, that track I did, and then pull something out from 10 years ago and do it. You know, but you don't really see anything where the actual process of creativity is modularized like this, where we're tracking, you know, the divergent thinking. And actually, if you can keep thinking divergently all the way, and taking those big risks, creative risks, and get it all done, when you come to release, you know, that's where, you know, you can do the convergent thinking, the mixed stuff. I mean, mixing is still creative. I'm not saying that's not uncreative. But the decisions are more concrete binary. It's more of a yes and no. But actually saying that, we can still have yes and no's during the creative process, because creativity and science, you know, music and science, art and science are very, very similar. They fit into a scientific model, especially if you listen to some of the David Deutsch stuff and Why a Flower is Beautiful. You know, that sort of answers some of those questions. And, you know, one of the things that I really find very enlightening is actually being able to come up with a scientific explanation of why something musically works. And there is an explanation. There is one that definitely works. But I'm not going to share it. But you can actually, you know, what people tend to do, if you say, oh well, why does that song work for you? What they'll tend to do is they'll just describe what's going on, but not actually give you an explanation that's reusable, that you can go, all right, well, I'll take that and use it, you know. I mean, I suppose things like Leonard Bernstein's Harvard lectures in the 70s, you know, when he talks about harmonic series. There's somebody who's trying to, you know, scientifically explain why music works, and he did have to put, when he found out that like these pieces of music had the similar constellations of notes, he put an interdisciplinary team together to actually work it out. And there was a linguistics person, there was a physicist, I think, and they all got together to work this thing out. So to come up with an explanation, and actually he does have a good explanation, but there are other explanations that you can use. And the great thing is like when you kind of get this down and you start playing with it, you can do it when you're improvising. You can just think along those lines. Like even with my actual core experience, I practice thinking about that in an improvisational situation. I think of a problem state, if I remember, if I'm not in fight or flight and going, ah. On a good day I can think of a problem state and then where I want to shift that state to, and I think that's about it. I'm going on one of my things here. Is that it for sure? The process would be absolutely the same, because it's the thinking, Carl. It's just the thinking, so you can apply it to anything. And actually this process would apply to art. It would apply to visual art, it would apply to video making. Not just time-based stuff. So yes, it would. That would apply. It would definitely apply to guitar and drums. And the coaching thing doesn't apply to any genre of music. It's like all genres of music. Because it's not I'm not installing skills. I'm facilitating skills. I don't even need to hear the music that you're doing. All I need to know is get the data of how it's going. I mean, actually, like one thing that you don't want to be doing is being, from a coaching point of view, is being put in a situation where you're giving somebody feedback on the work, because then that person becomes reliant on you as the person who is the quality control, and you've got to learn to have that quality control. The problem. This is the other problem artists have, right? And this is very, very important, because I was like it for years, and it was horrendous when I look back. And that was, I was just reactive to everything. I would never take responsibility for anything. I'd be like in a band, I'm the lead guitar player. I'd be told what to do. I'd write music and stuff like that. And I'd get into situations that I wasn't in control of and get really, really frustrated. And then I would become sort of doubt myself. And then like ask other people, what do you think of this? Just crazy stuff. I mean, I used to do, when I was first doing dance music, I would like just create tracks and then ask people who were non-musicians, like a DJ or something, what do you think of this? Do you think this would work? And I used to think, oh great, they said it didn't work, so I'll ditch it. But it was utter rubbish. And then I just started doing stuff and taking responsibility for it and making my own judgment. And then just thinking, well, it's good enough, let's see what damage it does in the world. And there was times, right, where when I was signed to Two Dutch, where I would send, the A&R music there, and you've got, we don't like it. Now, that would be fine, and they would say, don't like because of this reason. And if I knew that track was a good example of what it was, I had that gut instinct, and that had value. And before, if somebody said that to me, I'd be gutted. It'd be like, oh, back to the drawing board, it's my ideas are crap, I'm crap. No, I don't, forget it. It's a snapshot of who I was at the time, and somebody out there in the world will love that music. So sure enough, and this happened many times, I put it out, this particular track, and it was signed by Mark Vito. It was a massive DJ, and he loved it straight away. I got a reply straight back, bang, there you go. And the other problem with having feedback is, like people have, you don't know whether they're having a bad day that day or whatever. So you gotta not worry about feedback from people. Your own feedback's good enough. If it feels right to you, then it is right. Fact. I could fart into a mic, right, and release it, and there would be somebody who would like it. There'd be a fan. In fact, if I farted into a mic, the fans that I would probably attract who like fart music, right, would be loyal fans. And there might be 10 of them, but they would buy every fart tune that I made. The only trick is to find them. That would be you, Sean. Right, I'll think about that. Because it's very, very unique, you know, the value would be much higher though, that's the only thing. Fart wave. Oh yeah. All right, I'll tell you a story. Right, okay. There's a comic in England. Look it up, called Viz. Right, and years ago. Right, okay, a long time ago, like more than 10 years ago, a bit more than 15 years ago. Right, they have a character called Johnny Fart Pants. And he's just this guy who gets into all situations because of his farting. Anyway, they decided, Viz Comics, which is very well known, very successful, Viz, yeah, they decided to have an exhibition. And me and my partner, who at the time was a visual artist, is actually a Dr. Sharon now, and a lecturer in mobilities. But anyway, when she was an artist, we both got a job with Viz, and I was the sound designer. A sound sculptor, should we put it? And I specialised in Johnny Fart Pants. So I was given the task of creating 12 national anthems from around the world in fart tune, and it was this big installation of Johnny with his arse out, and then you had this, and it was called Spin the Wheel of Fart Tune. You'd spin this wheel, and it would land on like a country, and then he would fart, and he would fart the national anthem. So that's what I did. It didn't stop there though, because somewhere online you might find it. They did a cartoon called Doctor Pooh, and guess who they asked to remake the Doctor Who theme tune? Me. And I'm quite proud of it, because actually when you hear it in detail, I even included the dodgy tape loop on the original one, because it was a BBC Radiophonics. So they were cutting the tape. When you listen to the original, there's on the do, there's like where it repeats at the end the melody, right? It's a living, yeah. The where it repeats, you can hear where the tape was cut. So I even put that in. But yes, Johnny Fart Pants and Doctor Pooh shitting through space and time, or time and space. It was, and it basically, the cartoon's about the Doctor trying to find a toilet in the galaxy, and everywhere he goes, somebody's like after him. You know, it's either the Cybermen, and then he decides that actually the place he needs to go is where the Daleks live, the Dalek planet, right? Because Stavros has like an excellent shitter, as he puts it, and it's a disabled toilet. So you go anyway, and then the Daleks get him. So that was Doctor Pooh. There you go, I've lost all my credibility, but it was such a long time and I'm a totally different person now. Right. So I better get going now, because we're running on. So there you go, I've lost all my all my credibility now. Thoughts are, they're hilarious. But actually they stop being funny, right, when when you've got a day of like trying to like knock them into some sort of musical shape. Of course, right, I didn't have, like, at the time I didn't have a computer where I could just like record tons of audio. It was all like sampled. It was on an Akai S2000 sampler that I did all of this on. Yeah, always funny. Alright guys, so I'm gonna head off, and I'm not sure if there's a morning session or not tomorrow, but there's certainly a listening session tonight because it's Friday. So I'm gonna schedule in a listening session this evening, because we need to look at these splurges and plan the next week. Okay, alright, I'll see you guys and I'll post the link up in Discord and on Instagram. Alright guys, see you later, bye.